Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wilmington, North Carolina and Legion Stadium for a USL Pro League regular season matchup between the Wilmington Hammerheads and the visiting Richmond Kickers. Here in Wilmington, we're trying to fight off the rain showers. The players are starting to take the field. This is a crucial regular season matchup as the Hammerheads come in 5 wins, 1 loss, and 5 ties in 7th place. However, unbeaten in their last 8 league matches, facing off against the 2nd place Richmond Kickers, 8 wins, 1 loss, and 6 ties. My name is Ray Stone, and I'm joined by former George Mason head coach and Major League Soccer talent scout Richard Broad. Richard, thanks for joining me tonight.
Great to be with you, Ray. Should be a good game tonight between 2 teams that played just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, they had a thriller in Richmond a couple weeks ago, seeing Richmond go up 2-0 in the first half and the Hammerheads answering with 2 goals in the last 10 minutes to earn a highly competitive draw. Players starting to take the field, referees coming with them. We'll send you down to field level now for the national anthem and the introduction for tonight's starting lineup. Richard, give the people at home something they might look forward to tonight between a highly competitive matchup between 2 teams really familiar with one another.
2 teams that have 2 very good players up top. Sammy Ochoa for the home team. He's been a target player, very, very effective. And the man they have to shut down is a man that hurt them up in Richmond before. Matt Delicate, he scored 100 goals in his Richmond Kickers career.
Very highly decorated stars up top. Without further ado, we'll send you down after tonight's national anthem and introductions. We'll be back with you. Thanks for joining us for USL Pro Soccer streaming live on YouTube. And welcome back to Legion Stadium. That was a beautiful national anthem. We're about set to go. Players shaking hands, getting ready to start. But before the action begins, let me give you a brief rundown of tonight's starting lineup, starting with the visiting Richmond Kickers. Up top, number 7, Matt Delicott. Number 29, Michael Seaton. Number 11, George Davis, in the wing midfield. On the other side, number 17, Jason Yisley. Central midfield, Luke Bercoloni, and number 28, Samuel Asante. In the back, number 23, Sasha Gurez. Number 26, Connor Shinosky. Number 2, William Yambi. On the right side, Henry Kalunji. And in the goal, Joe Willis. For the home Wilmington Hammerheads, up top, leading scorer, number 9, Sammy Ochoa. Behind him, number 11, Sonny Jane. In left wing midfield, number 12, Stephen Miller. On the right side, number 14, Michael Oliveira. In central midfield, number 2, the captain, Tom Parrott. Number 8, Paul Nicholson. In the back for the Hammerheads, on the left side, number 16, Drew Ruggles. In the center, we'll have number 6, Christian Davidson. Number 9, number 4, Ashani Faircloth, and on the right side, Albert Edward. And in the goal, on loan from Toronto, the 19-year-old Hammerhead superstar, Quillen Roberts. Players taking the field now. Looking forward to this match. Richard?
Well, it rained a little bit off and on thus far. I don't think it's going to affect the play one way or another. It's an important game in the league. Interestingly enough, the Hammerheads a change here. Sonny Jane is starting as the second forward for David Irving's team. Sonny Jane was a star, a rising star at the University of Maryland. Senior year was a bit disappointing. Didn't even go to the combine, and he struggled to find his way thus far, but he had a very good performance in an exhibition match against Toronto. He gets a start. Very dangerous attacking player.
That's right. Interesting to see that Irving made the switch there. Sonny Jane was very productive in that friendly against Toronto, but he takes the place of Jordan Hamilton, another young guy that's on loan from Toronto that has really seen his stock started to rise. He's scored his 4th goal to tie Sammy Ochoa for the team lead just recently. So it'll be interesting to see what Sonny Jane can bring. Typically, a real firecracker, brings a lot of energy, and we'll see what he brings to the Hammerhead attack tonight. And there's the opening kick, and here we go from Wilmington, North Carolina, Hammerheads versus the Richmond Kickers. There is Sonny Jane with it there in the midfield. Looking long for Stephen Miller. Ball knocked out of play on the left side via Richmond throw-in.
One slight change I've noticed already, Ray. Jason Yisley playing on the left-hand side for Richmond. Oftentimes he will go on the right. He's taking the throw-in now.
It's a very narrow field here at Legion Stadium, so a lot of times throw-ins deep can cause a lot of problems. Ball brought down now by Jane. Interesting to see. We've had a quick rain shower just before kickoff. This artificial turf tends to get a little slippery, so we'll see if that factors into any of the play tonight. As we saw, Ochoa couldn't come up with it there up top for Wilmington.
It's a tactic we see often. A team that's on the road, get a chance to settle the ball down. Richmond settling it early, now playing the ball forward all the way out of the back, bypassing midfield.
Going all the way back to Willis now. There's the first foul of tonight's game. Shawnee Faircloth getting a little too physical in the air.
He's going out there to mark Matt Delicott, who's the leading scorer, tied for leading scorer in the league, leading scorer on Richmond. And that's what you want to do. You want to introduce yourself to a player early in the game, let them know that it's not going to be easy to penetrate the defense.
Yeah, Delicott, one of the most decorated players in USL Pro Soccer, having scored his 100th goal, professional goal, just a week and a half ago in Pittsburgh in a 3-1 win against the Riverhounds. He also is tied for the league lead presently in this season's USL Pro with 10 goals this season. There's Ruggles winning the ball in the air.
See that Richmond will push those outside backs up high. Henry Kalonji going up the right side, and you'll probably see Goris get down the flank on the left side for Richmond as they build the play out of the back.
Ball comes around near side to Yombi. He's looking long for Delicott. Out comes Willis, and he sort of muffs the clearance.
That's characteristic of Joe Willis. He's played a lot of games for DC United over the course of his career, and many times he was almost better than Bill Hamid. Now he's lost that number 2 spot in DC, playing down here. He's done a fine job for Richmond since coming to the Kickers.
Long ball, nicely controlled there by Davidson in the back for the Hammerheads. He also tries his hand at a long ball, looking for Ochoa up top. Ochoa is a big fella up top, so that's a lot of times one of the Hammerheads' preferred strategies is to send some long balls up there and let him bring it down and let people run off of him.
Exactly right. When you have a target player like Ochoa, win the ball as you just did in the air, why not play up to him and then get your midfielders into support? That's the tactic that David Irving's side uses to effectiveness.
Ball won by Albert Edward there for the Hammerheads. Here's Jane in the middle.
Interesting to see Sonny Jane in the middle of the park. At Maryland, he occasionally played there, but oftentimes Sasha Surowski, the Maryland coach, used him out wide. He's very effective attacking players 1v1. So when he's out wide, he can run at that outside back and oftentimes isolate him when he can't have support.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. You may see a little bit of interchanging between Stephen Miller and Sonny Jane, just allowing them the freedom to go wherever they'd like on the field, depending on what they're having success with.
Stephen Miller out of Colgate. You don't hear a lot of players coming from Colgate or other Patriot League schools, but he was an outstanding player under Eric Ronning in that program. He's a very, very hard worker, what you call an honest player, just doesn't make mistakes. You can count on him day in and day out to get the job done.
Ball back in play now as Shinosky plays it across the Yombi for the Kickers. Possession been fairly even thus far. Nice work up the right sideline here from the Kickers. Great ball in there from George Davis, but knocked away by Quillen Roberts for the Hammerheads.
Good aggressive play by Quillen Roberts coming out. A little bit of miscommunication that time. He ended up colliding with Shawnee Faircloth. That's because they're new. Quillen Roberts on loan down from Toronto. Not maybe comfortable with his back group, but he wants to come out aggressively as he did there. Very nice play to deny the cross sent in by Kalungi.
Dangerous ball flicked over the top now.
So in that situation, why Matt Delicott is such a highly regarded player. Not only can he score goals, but he can get on the end of these long balls. He won that ball, knocked it down, and now we have another throw-in. Jason Yisley, who moved over to the left side a bit, now on the right side taking the throw-in, former Penn State star.
Ball brought down now on the edge of the box, and it'll be knocked out for a corner kick for the Richmond Kickers. So Hammerheads having to face a bit of trouble here early on.
George Davis, former Kentucky player, very, very good technically. Good server of the ball in these corners.
They go to the near post, and that's cleared away, which will be another... Oh, sorry, knocked out of bounds for a goal kick, it appears.
That was aimed for Connor Shinosky, the defender, coming up to make their near post run. Shinosky, an interesting player, bypassed high school, went to the pros very early. I believe it was at age 17. Never really quite got a footing. But he's starting to get a little bit of respect to his experience. He's still very young, and this experience here with Richmond is helping him greatly.
Kickers back with it now, starting to assert themselves. Nice ball played to the near sideline. Interesting. Kickers were supposed to play last night against the Charleston Battery. However, their game due to persistent lightning was canceled in the 18th minute. So possibly a bit fresher legs from Richmond than what could have been if they had played a full 90 minutes in Charleston last night.
Talked to Lee Kalishaw about that, and he said exactly that. There was maybe a blessing in disguise. You have to play 2 games on the road within the 24 hours. That's a little bit tough, so they should be ready for this game tonight.
The Hammerheads would like to thank Pepsi for its continued support. Pepsi is the official soft drink of the Wilmington Hammerheads FC and is available in all the concession areas of Legion Stadium. Miller Lite College presents the Hammerhead for a Day contest. Stop by the Miller Lite College Stadium located near the beer garden.
There's the little guy, Sonny Jane, getting knocked down.
This is the advantage of being a little guy. You go up against a player like Yonby. The referee thinks that he's picking on you. I thought that was a pretty clean challenge in the air by Yonby.
Good ball toward the back post and nicely cleared away momentarily. So again, looking for Stephen Miller over here on this far post, just unable to get up high enough for that cross.
Got in just a little bit too early. As a good serve by Drew Ruggles. He's got a very good left foot coming down that flank, and Miller looking for the cross. He scored a lot of goals at Colgate, but really versatile all-around player, can do a lot of different things well.
Nicely won in the air by Yisley, but goes out of bounds for a hammerhead throw.
Jason Yisley, interesting player, was a very good player at Penn State, but his career was marred by injuries. He's had a concussion here. If he can stay healthy, he can add an awful lot to that Richmond team.
Dangerous ball played back to Quillen Roberts as Delicott pressures him into a sloppy clearance out of bounds.
That's what Matt Delicott will do. He'll put pressure on both the defenders and the goalkeeper. It really wasn't necessary. Quillen Roberts, plenty of time to get that ball out, and now he's exposed to a throw-in, and Yisley can throw the ball to the middle of the goal. Chooses not to do so in this occasion.
Nicely punched out on that cross from Shinosky.
great work back by Asante in the midfield. He's small, very quick, and he can help Richmond in their possession through the middle of the park.
The Hammerheads are hosting Orlando City Soccer Club at Legion Stadium on Thursday, July 3rd. Fans, get your tickets today and enjoy
Ball knocked away from Stephen Miller out of bounds.
fireworks on the back wheel. Purchase your tickets today at WilmingtonHammerheads.com.
Sasha Gurez goes all the way back to Joe Willis with it.
Experienced back line for Richmond. That's important in these tight games. They don't make a lot of mistakes.
Here he is, as you said earlier, Kalungi pushing forward on that right side.
Little switch that time. Usually Jason Yeisley takes the throw in. This time he did not. They threw into him. He got off the shot, forcing a corner. Taking the corner, it's going to be Davis. Once again, he's probably the best player technically on the Richmond Kickers. Very accurate server of the ball. And we see Yonby and Shinosky, the two central defenders, coming forward for the corner kick.
They go near post, but it comes out. That shot deflected out of bounds for another corner kick for Richmond.
And that's a good tactic, too. A lot of times you talk about the players in front of the goal on these corners, but Richmond keeping players at the top of the box. And that ball that comes to the top of the box was struck that time by Luke Vercoloni. Is, again, a dangerous ball unless you get the defenders to come out and defend it. Davis, again, this is the third or fourth corner. Richmond getting far too many for the Hammerheads' liking.
Ball cleared away. Sonny Jane able to come back, but nice job from Vercoloni to win possession back. Tom Parrott goes all the way back to Quillen Roberts.
That's going to be important for the Hammerheads to get Parrott and Nicholson coming back and helping with the defense and enabling the Hammerheads to get more control in the middle of the park. Ball's cleared away by Quillen Roberts, and I think he could have picked that up. It didn't look like an intentional pass back to him. Very agile, very active in the goal, but you can see the fact that he's unaccustomed to these other defenders. He's new to the team, and that communication is a bit of a concern.
Nice left-footed ball there by Yeisley. Gets all the way across the far sideline.
Excellent play by Jason Yeisley. Looked like that ball would go over the end line. He got to it, got it in, created a chance. Michael Seaton called for the foul, and the ball will go over to the Hammerheads. And you mentioned earlier, Ray, that the possession was fairly even. In the last 10 minutes, really Richmond has had much too much of the play, and this has to concern David Irving. He has to get his team to get more possession of the ball, especially in the midfield.
Yeah, those two guys you mentioned earlier, Parrott and Nicholson in the midfield, typically really the engine that makes this Hammerhead team run really steady in the central midfield. Need to do a better job of getting on the ball. And as we say that, here is Nicholson and Parrott. And there'll be a foul called on Asante. Nicely flicked on, looking for Sonny Jane. His left-footed shot knocked down harmlessly. Another good chance for the Hammerheads, but another shot knocked down in the box. And here come the Kickers out with it. Nice looking ball there, looking for Yeisley on the near side.
Again, a little shakiness back there in the Hammerhead goal, but that was really good tracking that time by the right back, Albert Edward, who, had he not gotten back, could have been a dangerous opportunity for Richmond.
Now here come the Hammerheads again, a bit back and forth affair. Possession given away, and Richmond looking to counter. Foul called there on Nicholson.
Clear foul by Nicholson. I'd be surprised if he didn't get a yellow card for that one.
Looks like referee would at least like to have a couple words with Paul Nicholson there in the Hammerheads midfielder.
Looks like he's getting off quite easily on that. That was a clear foul, and the point even further that Fergaloni was in well past him, and Nicholson tripped him up from behind him. Really quite surprised there is no caution. Nicholson does well in that one. Goris from the left back position, Richmond, very accurate server of the ball, and it's going to be important that these Hammerhead forwards challenge him. He's just had too easy a time getting forward, getting services in, and they can't allow him to keep doing it. Now Yaisley back again, what looks to be a long throw in. He'll probably go for one of those defenders moving up.
That ball flicked on from Yombi to the back post, and now Quillen Roberts forced to knock that shot over the bar.
And that's what Roberts does well. He's very agile, very active, very quick. That's a good shot by Davis, who will be taking the corner. Quillen Roberts, not familiar with his defense, but as a shot saver, those great reflexes come in handy. Once again, they'll be looking for these tall defenders, Yombi and Shinosky coming forward. This ball to the far post.
Nicely won by Ochoa, tracking all the way back to defend on that corner kick. And now Sonny Jane with a little space over the top. Now Stephen Miller on it. That ball knocked out of bounds for a Hammerheads throw.
Sonny Jane's a very dangerous player, but he's playing too slowly thus far. He's had a couple opportunities to get off shots. He's got his quickness. He needs to use that and get the shots off when they're available.
Now ball turned over deep in Richmond's end. Tom Parrott able to get a cross off. And Sonny Jane tries to bring it down, but quickly dispossessed.
But he does a nice job back on defense. Good tracking by Sonny Jane.
There's that matchup again, Faircloth and Delicott in the air.
And thus far, Shawnee Faircloth has done an outstanding job limiting the number of touches for Matt Delicott. Here's Davis with it in the middle. Over to Vercoloni. Nice touch. Looks like they'll get a Shawnee Faircloth for the foul there. Just a bit late on that challenge. Referee seemed a bit reluctant to present any kind of foul in that situation, but very obviously took Michael Seaton down. And the Hammerheads are just giving far too much possession to the kickers. And again, Goris from the left back position has had his way just serving the ball or driving into the forward's feet. And it's been far too easy for Richmond to get forward and create opportunities.
So a free kick here in a dangerous spot here. 22nd minute at Legion Stadium. Still 0-0, but Richmond clearly threatening the majority of this first half thus far. Looks like we'll have Davis and Gorez over the top. Nice ball from Davis. He's onside. Nicely defended there on the second ball for the Hammerheads and knocked out of bounds.
Interesting restart, obviously rehearsed by Richmond under Lee Calishaw. Ball was run over by Goris. He kept on running. The ball was redirected off Davis into Goris to get the ball in. Now Yisley with another throw in.
That ball headed straight up in the air, but now punched away by Quillen Roberts.
No question about Quillen Roberts' quality. It's just a matter of communication and organization of the defense. But he is very agile, very active, very brave coming off this line.
Yeah, he's been a real fan favorite here in Wilmington. A bright future for this young guy, only 19 years old, from Jamaica and on loan from Toronto out of the MLS. Nicely kept in there, up to Ochoa. But once again, the Hammerheads just can't control it in the midfield. And here's Yisley on the left side. Davis tries an attempt from long range, but
and not only has Goris been able to come forward, had time and space, there's much too much space being given by the Hammerheads in the midfield. Luke Vercaloni has come out of the back, run with the ball 20, 30 yards on several occasions. He's found Davis. He's found Yisley. If they can start connecting with Matt Delicott in the final third, they're going to be posing more and more threats to score.
Ball from Willis just going over the end line for a Hammerheads throw.
At Graybar Chiropractic Rehabilitation Centers, great pride is taken in providing the finest chiropractic wellness care to our patients. Visit graybarchiro.com to learn more about the different chiropractic services.
I'd like to remind you all at home that for scores, stats, news, and more, they're exclusively on USLProSoccer.com. Kickers again on the attack.
Once again, it's Kalungi down that right side. Richmond's had most of the game. The one thing they haven't been able to do, and give some credit for to the defense of the Hammerheads for this, they haven't been able to connect with that final pass into the attacking third. It's really important how you enter the attacking third, and Richmond's played very well, but have not done that especially well, finding players, especially Delicott, in the last 35 yards of the field.
Foul called there on Ochoa as he got up underneath Shinoski on the long ball from Roberts.
Again, Luke Vercaloni has had his way in the midfield in the first 30 minutes of this game.
Poor ball in the midfield there from Tom Parrott.
Again, that was Stephen Miller, as you mentioned before, Ray, will sometimes come inside. Did that time, but the passing has not been accurate. Again, we're about 30 minutes and 26 minutes or so into this match, and Hammerheads just need to get possession of the ball. They've had very little of the ball so far. Richmond has been able to control, dictate play. Hammerheads just a little bit slow, a little bit sluggish, and not real accurate with their passing.
And Richard, as a coach, is there anything that you can do specifically, or is that just on the players to play with more energy and be more precise with their touches?
Well, it's hard to say just from a glance, but again, I think the fact that Richmond has come out and they made it very clear that they want to possess the ball, and you're just defensively giving them too much time and space. Once again, here's Isley collecting, and this time Delicate getting involved in the action. Just they've been backtracking and giving far too much space in the end, and here's what happens. You get chances like this. The pressure has to be increased. It's hard for David Irving to do something now, but at halftime, I expect him to tell his players, you've got to come out and be more aggressive marking off the ball. Deny them the opportunities to receive it. It's been much too easy. Too many Richmond players have received the ball, just as Isley did there, without enough pressure.
Now, nice ball over the top.
Different tactic that time. See Isley had just received the ball, now running forward out of the midfield to try to get that play. He's a very active player, very fit, very hard-working player. I'd love to see how well he could have done at Penn State, where not for all those injuries, he would have been maybe one of the best players in the country. He was one of the best players, but he could have really been a big-time star in that Big Ten conference.
Richmond knocking the ball around the back here, continuing to maintain possession, but as you said, that hasn't been their problem. The finishing in the final third of the field is the only thing that's kept this game at a 0-0 tie.
Well, having said that, Ray, you're exactly right. It's still a 0-0 tie 30 minutes in, and they've done a very good job in the final third defending, have the Hammerheads, and it just takes one quick counterattack, and maybe that's what David Irving's hoping for, although the speed is a problem. Ochoa's more a target player. He's unlikely to break past these two central defenders easily.
Now here's Vercoloni. Nice ball played in. Quillen Roberts doing a nice job being on his toes, able to come out and corral that.
Very, very quick off his line, and that's important with a player like Delicate. That's the best chance that Delicate's had. I thought he might get a touch on that. Maybe didn't anticipate as well as he could have. You saw the pressure right there from the Richmond defense, caused the Hammerheads to give up the ball. Hammerheads need to do that more to Richmond, make it tougher on them to receive the ball.
A lot of space on that far sideline.
Far too much space for Kalungi coming down the flank, and wasn't a good quality cross, but the ball's headed out, and now Davis takes what would you say, Ray, 6th or 7th corner kick of the match.
Must be. Going near post again. Hammerhead's able to clear that away. Now up top to Oliveira. A chance to counterattack here for the Hammerheads. Have some numbers. Nice ball out to Stephen Miller. Or I'm sorry, Ochoa with the cross.
In a game where you're not getting a lot of action, it can sometimes be harder on the defense. And really, the kickers have not been tested at all. We finally saw a little activity by Michael Oliveira, who did a good job getting that ball across to Ochoa, who whipped that ball in, and the kickers were quite fortunate there. Again, Joe Willis has not had to touch the ball much either in the goal. Good opportunity there by that shot by Stephen Miller, and Boy, I can't be sure. It might be Shinovsky who took one for the team for Richmond, but one of their players down, and it's hard to tell who it is, but that was a rocket by by Stephen Miller from the top of the box. We talked about balls coming out, and that's where Miller was, perfectly positioned, struck the ball very, very well.
Trainer for the Kickers coming out now. We'll get you some more information whenever we have it.
That is Matt Delicott, who is back, the striker, back in front of his own goal, making a play on that. And he's a tough guy. He's a brave guy. You don't get 100 goals in your career by shying away from contact. And Matt Delicott really took one for the team off that blistering shot by Miller.
And that would be a huge loss if he was too shaken up to continue, but
I don't think there's much chance of that, Ray.
Yeah.
This guy's a warrior. He's been around, and he's going to have to come off because he's been attended to, but I think he'll be right back in. And Lee Calishaw going over to see how he's doing, but I don't think we'll see any change. Matt Delicott, too important for Richmond to stay out for long.
Yeah, it was able to walk off on his own power. Ball back in play now, given back to the Hammerheads following the injury.
And Matt Delicott right back on.
Well, that's great to see. Now look for Sonny Jane up top. Ochoa tries one from distance, maybe trying to catch Joe Willis off his line a bit, but
a bit optimistic to try to beat a goalkeeper as good as Willis from 35 yards. Ochoa's a force. Big, strong guy. He can be pretty active. He's not going to blow by you with speed, but he's a powerful guy. It was his cross that created that last corner kick, which resulted in Miller's hard shot on goal.
there's Isley again looking for Delicott.
This latest flurry inspiring the Wilmington fans. You've got that chant you've been hearing with USA. I believe we will win, and they're getting a little more optimistic. Sonny Jane coming in here, and a great play by Yonby to cut him off. Speaking of that, Ray, how about that U.S. national team? Amazing job by our boys down there in Brazil.
Yeah, I know for a lot of the more casual fans, it was difficult to understand how a loss there to Germany 1-0 was a positive result, but got us through the knockout rounds, and now anything's possible.
Well, it certainly is, and sometimes you can win the battle and lose the war. We lost the battle, and we're winning the war.
That long ball by Gorez almost got onto the end of that by Delicott, but Hammerheads track back to defend that nicely, but it looks like it will be another corner for the Kickers.
Impressed by Richmond's veteran leadership. Matt Delicott up front, Sasha Gorez in the back, and Yonby next to him. They're very experienced players. And Gorez is just so dangerous. He's such a good server of the ball that Wilmington must do more to deny him.
Ochoa able to keep it in nicely. Now to Sonny Jane. Hammerheads look to counter. Nicely intercepted there.
Soccer fans, Dr. Gabe Rich of Riverside Middle Arts is giving away soccer camp scholarships this summer.
A great ball to the far post.
Once again, it's Galungi coming forward. He almost was able to find Jason Isley. Did find him. Isley put it across the front. They weren't able to capitalize.
There's Gorez again.
Probably his poorest service of the day. Slipped a little on that one.
Now Sonny Jane with some space. Michael Oliveira now on the right side with it.
Nice support defense by Gorez. Plays it back to the keeper. And Richmond, the same style of play they used the entire half, possessing the ball. They do need to get more chance in attack. It started to open up a little bit in the last 5 minutes for them. See Roberts coming out, kicks the ball away, but it'd be nice to see him connect with one of the forwards, a Cho or a Jane. And you asked Ray before about possible changes. I think one thing that David Irving might try is to move Sonny Jane out wide. He just hasn't been really effective when there's congestion and traffic, and there's more likely to be that traffic in the middle of the park. He gets out wide. He can use that speed to take defenders on.
Also, another thing to look forward to, possibly number 21, Jordan Hamilton coming in. He's been a big surprise for the Hammerheads here on loan from Toronto. Got his 4th goal this season, tying him with Ochoa for the team lead in their game against the Chicago Fire Reserves last weekend.
Very athletic guy. Gives him a little more size maybe if he goes on for Sonny Jane or maybe outside midfield. Take a look down at the end of the field. I don't think they'll be making any substitution this half, but David Irving has got all 6 outfield substitutes warming up, and I think he probably will make a change because he's got to be happy about the score, but not about the possession that Richmond's had. Ruggles on the throw-in, probably likely to get it into the box.
Goes near post, but cleared away by the kickers.
They have to make more of their chances. Hammerheads have not had that many chances. They've got to make
long ball over the top. Sonny Jane gets onto the end of it, but unable to get enough on that header. Great look, though.
Well, it was a good idea, good ball forward, and it's not gone well for the Hammerheads when you have your smallest guy getting up to head that ball. Sonny Jane produced quite a few goals at Maryland, but I don't think too many with his head.
Yeah, at 5'5", that's not your ideal target. Oh, turned over in the midfield from Tom Parrott.
Good recovery by Nicholson that time. Even though there's a foul, he almost had to make a foul when the team gave the ball away because once again they had the ball. Davis was wide open. They take him down. And now Richmond's turn to see if they can make the most of one of their restarts.
Yeah, there's certainly a difference a lot of times between a good and a bad foul, and that certainly may have been the former.
Ray, neither team has made the most of its restarts, especially Richmond. They have had, I think, 7 or 8 throw-ins, maybe 6 or 7 corners, and they really haven't gotten that much out of it. And you need to be not only getting the balls in, but you need to be accurate with it. United States, just as an example, that game against Ghana, great restart taken, a corner kick by Graham Zuzi, connects with Brooks, and we come away with a win that really drove us on into the second round. Richmond has to do a better job of the restarts, and so too do the Hammerheads.
Ball played short. Gorez plays the long one into the box. Hammerhead's able to come away with it. Now on the counter, but turned over. Ball knocked out of bounds. While we have a break in the action, I'd like to remind all of you social media junkies to visit the USL Pro fan page on Facebook at facebook.com/USL Pro.
David Irving talked to officials into changing the call in that particular time, but what he really wanted to do is talk to his players and have them take better advantage of a counterattacking possibility. They were numbers up coming out of the back and didn't get anything out of that.
Long throw finds Sonny Jane, but he's unable to come up with it as his touch goes out of bounds.
He has to do better with that ball. Sonny Jane, as a collegiate in Maryland, was just so deft in tight spaces, and he's not shown that quality thus far tonight.
Ball played back in by Davidson, but over the top of Oliveira. Nicholson out to Parrott. He looks up top again for Sonny Jane, but The lack of size, unable to get onto the end of that as Joe Willis comes out nicely.
Very nice stuff by Joe Willis.
Oh, dangerous tackle from behind there from Ochoa. Referee might make a mark, his first mark into his book here with Ochoa, that sliding tackle from behind.
Luke Fercoloni has several times run with the ball out of midfield and been taken down. And it looks like Ochoa is. Yes, he is getting a yellow card. Not so much what Ochoa's done, but it's a cumulative effect. Fercoloni has been just had his way, and the only way they've held him back is by taking him down oftentimes from behind.
Ball knocked away momentarily by the Hammerheads, but possession won again by the Kickers in the middle with Vercoloni. Now back to Shinosky. Nicholson able to intercept that for the Hammerheads. 44th minute here, time winding down in the first half. Possession dominated by Richmond thus far, but the Hammerheads looking to strike.
A little bit dramatic that time by Sonny Jane, but he does get the foul. And right at the end of the half, this is an excellent time for the Hammerheads to have a restart. It's right at the end of the game. Some tired legs maybe on the part of the Kickers. Can we take advantage? We need a good quality service.
Ochoa and Faircloth, two of their favorite targets in the air on set pieces like this.
Shawnee Faircloth, very good in the air. He's stationed at the far post.
That service over the top of everyone. The Hammerheads unable to capitalize, even get an opportunity out of that nice set piece.
And Sonny Jane perfectly capable of taking these restarts. No point having him in on the head for that time. But he's not a real accurate server of the ball. He didn't take these very often for Maryland when he was playing there at the collegiate level. He has to do a better job. They just haven't had enough chances. They've got to make more of them. They can't just waste them the way they did there. That's great work by Drew Ruggles, just staying there. Ruggles pleading for a foul. He did well, and as it is, he should just be content. The referee, instead of giving a foul, the other guy helps Ruggles off the floor. Nice gesture by the official.
Yeah, really battling hard over there with Seaton. Now here's Oliveira with it. Unable to connect with Edward going down the right sideline.
Just have to be more precise. It's too easily given away. Unforced repossession created, not really created by Richmond, just given away by the Hammerheads.
Oliveira, nice cross into the near post, but no trouble for Joe Willis.
Oliveira, very good server of the ball, and he almost got one in there, couldn't quite pull it back away. Became a fairly easy play for an experienced keeper like Joe Willis.
Ball going all the way back to Quillen Roberts. Doesn't take any chances this late in the half.
Wise decision. Albert Edwards done a very good job down the right side here. Been very steady, as the whole back line for the Hammerheads. The defensive end of it has been very solid for Wilmington. They need to do better when in possession.
There's Kalungi with the long ball looking up top. Bouncing around the top of the box. Comes back to Gorez, but he loses it. Sonny Jane coming away with it to Oliveira. That ball intercepted by Kalungi.
Look at the space that Kalungi has to come forward. Doesn't do anything with that, and that has to frustrate you if you're Lee Kalishow on the Richmond bench come forward and just hit that wild shot well over the bar to end the half.
And there's the referee's first half whistle. Richard, could you give us some of your impressions for the first half? I know the scoreboard appears even, but Richmond certainly dominated in possession. What did you see in that first half, and what do you expect going forward for the Hammerheads and the Kickers?
Again, when you have two fairly even teams coming out and one team has most of the play, but the other team is tied, you have to be happy if you're the Hammerheads coach. David Irving has to be pleased with that, but I don't think they can withstand this kind of pressure and just give Richmond so much possession. There have to be some changes. We may, as you suggested, see Jordan Hamilton coming in. He gives a physical presence. I might look for either Cody Arno or Brian Ackley to come in off the bench because, again, these are active physical players, and Richmond's dominated every statistical category: corner kicks, throw-ins, certainly time of possession, probably 50-50 balls. The only statistic they haven't dominated in, they're even in that, 0-0 in goals scored.
Well, thanks again, you all, for joining us on YouTube for USL Pro Soccer. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break. Once again, 0-0 at halftime between the Wilmington Hammerheads and Richmond Kickers. Welcome back to Legion Stadium. Once again, 0-0 between the Richmond Kickers and the home Wilmington Hammerheads. Hammerheads fans, don't forget that you can still sign up for the 2014 series of Wilmington Hammerheads youth soccer camps all summer long. Soccer camp is a great opportunity for boys and girls to develop their overall playing ability and their love of the sport. Campers will receive unparalleled coaching and instruction from the Hammerheads players, coaches, and staff in an enjoyable, friendly environment. Learn more about the camps and how to sign up by logging on to their website at www.wilmingtonhammerheads.com. I'd like to remind you also that the broadcast of this match is authorized by the Wilmington Hammerheads. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of any image, sound, account, or description without the express written permission of the club is strictly prohibited. Tonight's match was produced for the Hammerheads by Turbo Sports Group, the official video production company of the Hammerheads. Don't miss our next broadcast as the Hammerheads play host to Orlando City Soccer Club Thursday, July 3rd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Watch it right here live on the official Wilmington Hammerheads YouTube channel. Welcome back. Players starting to take the field after the halftime festivities. We'll get you wind of any halftime changes as we become aware of them. Referees brought the ball out. We're just about set for the second half to get underway. Richmond will be traveling from left to right on your screen. The home Hammerheads from right to left. Richard, what would you assume that David Irving's main focus was in the halftime speech talking with the Hammerheads?
I thought there might be a possibility of making some lineup changes, and as we talked about in the first half, of Jordan Hamilton coming on. I don't see any changes, at least not that I'm aware of. The thing I think David Irving's going to stress to his team is put a little more pressure on them. Don't make it so easy for them to play. But you see right now, Richmond trying to keep possession before they play it forward.
That was a major theme of the first half. Richmond able to maintain possession, move the ball around pretty much at will until they got into the last third. And then the Hammerheads defense was going by more of a bend but don't break methodology here, but still 0-0. So Hammerheads defense holding strong. I know they'd like to take a little pressure off them and keep the ball. Nice attack down the right side here to start.
And you saw immediate pressure, and that's how they won the ball. And a good combination, the best we've seen all day was Stephen Miller breaking up the right side, serving in the cross, which is cleared by Richmond.
Mike, can I get you to close down just a little bit?
Fight for it down in the far corner. It goes out of bounds for a Richmond throw.
Again, no personnel changes, but turning up the heat a little bit. A little more high oxygen, high energy from David Irving's side, and giving Richmond less time and space to play. Jason Yisley thinks he should be throwing that ball in over there, but he doesn't get to do so. It's a Hammerheads throw-in.
Davidson coming up in the central back position. Nice ball there. Now out wide to Ruggles. He finds Oliveira. Trying to go to the near post there, but easily cleared away by Shinosky.
Two teams played 2-2 up in Richmond about 2 weeks ago, and the game's just a completely different tenor now. No score halftime, and not any really good threats to score for that matter.
Nice little work there between Sonny Jane now to Ochoa. Back to Albert Edward, who fires it to the back post but cleared away.
Headed out by Kalungi, who spent most of the first half in the attacking end.
Yeah, so we've seen a reversal here early on in the second half. Hammerheads really making a conscious effort to put more pressure on the Richmond Kickers. Long throw from Ruggles. And we'll do it again. Comes back to Nicholson, who plays a nice ball into the box. Was Ochoa able to get onto the end of it, but heads it down, but right to Joe Willis.
Very good job by Ochoa. He's a physical force in the attacking third.
Difficult ball. They're played back to Shinosky. Does a nice job to keep possession of it. Now here's Seaton attacking down the right side.
I think they'll probably send Yisley over to throw this in once again. Yes, they do. He's in no hurry to take it. This will be a long throw into the box. Once again, forcing Roberts to come out or stay back in. He tends to be very aggressive, Quillen Roberts, in the goal.
That ball gets through everyone and goes out of bounds on the far sideline.
Purpose of Yaisley throwing that ball short is to sort of lull the defense into a sense of confidence and security, and then he will throw that ball in. That time did just the same thing, playing the ball back to Kalungi, who served the ball into the far post. You look down in the corner, you see David Irving's got all those substitutes warming up. Maybe he just wanted the bench to himself, but I don't think so. I think he wants to get some fresh legs in this game before too long.
Yeah, I think you're right, Richard. I would not be surprised to see multiple changes here in the second half. Ball played all the way back to Willis.
And that's what happens when you have an experienced goalkeeper like Joe Willis. You have the confidence to use him and bring the ball back to him as they just did.
USL would like to remind you all to follow at USL Pro on Twitter for all the latest updates.
And that's good work there by Ochoa. It's not your traditional defensive role, but the center forward tracking, putting pressure on, and results in a takeaway. Excellent positioning by Connor Shanowski blocking that shot. A lot of times the goalkeeper, it's not the number of shots he saves, but the balls that don't go get in. And if you keep your defense organized in front of you, as Joe Willis has done, you don't get a lot of shots, and your statistics are going to be better. You won't have maybe as many saves, but you'll keep the ball out of the net.
Hammerheads working out of the back now to the left side with Ruggles. Tries to find Jane, but he's unable to come up with it. Now Shanowski shields it and lets it go out of bounds for a goal kick.
Joe Willis, with all that experience and all those good games he's played over the years for DC United, just has to inspire confidence in his defenders.
Nice job winning that from Delicott. Now Yaisley gets onto the end of it, but Quillen Roberts doing a nice job coming out.
Very good coming out, controlling that area, very confident, very quick. Again, as he gets more and more experience, he's going to be an even better player.
Yeah, he's very aggressive back in the goal, almost playing a half goalkeeper, half sweeper here behind the four backs for the Hammerheads.
Very poised defending that time by Richmond. Kalungi doing a good job in the defensive end after posing a big attacking threat in the first half.
Seaton dispossessed by Stephen Miller.
Stephen Miller supplying some of that hustle and pressure that I'm sure David Irving is looking for.
All the way down the right side is Oliveira, but then Willis, nice job maintaining his position on that near post.
And that's another thing that I'm sure Coach Irving stressed. Get the ball out wide, get Oliveira involved. He didn't get a lot of touches in the first half. He's been more active thus far in the second.
Seaton with a lot of space in the middle of the field. Seaton beats Davidson off the dribble now, out wide to Yaisley. A strong left-footed shot that looked to be headed toward that far corner, but knocked away.
That ball was bending in low and driven in on the ground. Really nice play to deny that by Faircloth that time. Once again, Yaisley with a throw-in. He probably will go long this time to see if he can catch that defense, not looking for the long throw.
Quillen Roberts comes out, unable to get it, but cleared off the line. And now over the top from Richmond. So a really interesting sequence there. Quillen Roberts getting caught out of position.
Well, he's a very aggressive goalkeeper, and that time maybe a little bit too aggressive. And a fine job by Ashani Faircloth getting back to the goal line. As his keeper came back, he clears it off the line. You come out, if you're Roberts, you've got to get something. You've got to get part of the ball. He tends to punch rather than catch. He's not that tall, but he's got to get something. He's got to clear the ball high, long, and wide out of the area.
Kicker's going long up the left sideline.
The Wilmington Hammerheads FC would like to once again recognize and thank tonight's nonprofit partner, the Cape Fear Habitat.
Great defending on that sideline.
Now Oliveira with some space.
Albert Edward, excellent one-on-one defending as Davis isolated, couldn't get by him, and the Hammerheads are in the attack now. Good job by Albert Edward, who's been steady and consistent throughout this game, as has the whole defense for the Hammerheads.
Good pressure in that far right-hand corner by Sonny Jane.
This aggressive play by Wilmington has changed this game around. Richmond had their way, but really wasn't able to put things together in the attacking third. In the second half thus far, first 10 minutes, Wilmington's had the better of the opportunities.
Long throw into the box, headed out. Will be another Hammerheads throw, however.
That's not what you want if you're Samuel Asante giving another throw in.
Left-footed cross, swinging into that back post. Willis goes up to punch it away. Looks like there is a foul called.
And again, Willis showing that experience, knows he's going to get hit, comes up, punches the ball. He gets knocked a little bit. He wants a little bit of a rest, but he's used to it. Joe Willis just did a very fine job for a number of years for DC United. Very underrated. I thought at times he was playing a better goal for them than Bill Hamid, but they had a lot more invested in Hamid, who's a really special talent. But Joe Willis, good, steady player, had a fine career.
There's that matchup getting physical again. Faircloth and Delicate.
It's been a tough one-on-one battle, and Sonny Faircloth, I think he got hit either with a ball or perhaps with an inadvertent elbow from Delicate right in the face. Wilmington does not want to lose Ashani Faircloth. He's been a very steady player, the veteran out of University of South Florida. He had an outstanding collegiate career. Was highly touted coming out of there, and several MLS teams took a hard look at him.
A good opportunity here for kickers to be able to get a ball deep into the Hammerheads box.
Again, excellent defending by Albert Edward, who's just been a very, very solid performer at right back.
Now the Hammerheads on the break. Sonny Jane looking for Oliveira back on a 1-2 there. Nice job defending, but the Hammerheads still with it. Tom Parrott.
And he just so steady in the back, and Ashani doing all the work in front of him. Vercoloni sweeps it up, makes the play. Another solid veteran in the midfield for Lee Kalashaw's club.
Here's Kalungi once again down this right side. Nicely left for Vercoloni.
A little disappointed in himself. He thought he had a chance to spring Goris down the left side. Didn't get that ball under control quickly enough.
And Ruggles tried to jump in front there, but luckily for his sake, that ball was unable to be kept in bounds by Yisley.
Jason Yisley handing that flag back to the linesman. I think he'd much rather had the ball than the flag in that situation. Looked like he was in.
Nice left-footed ball coming in from Gores.
Good defending by Drew Ruggles, doing a nice job at left back. The outside backs have been just fine for Wilmington today, as have the central defenders. It just have not generated enough attack. Here's an opportunity with Sonny Jane.
Out wide to Miller. Tom Parrott touches it off. Now back to Parrott. And Tom Parrott buries it. The ball headed down, and the steady captain, Tom Parrott, makes him pay.
And he's at the right place at the right time. We haven't called Tom Parrott's number an awful lot. One of the numbers we've called more than anybody else in Wilmington Hammerheads is Stephen Miller. He's just kept working and working and working. He's not a flashy player, but he's the guy that set that sequence in effect. It's an inadequate clearance by Richmond. They've been so steady all along. The ball falls down to Parrott about 10 yards out, not a chance for Willis. And now, after all this possession, Richmond finds itself down with 30 minutes to go, 1-0.
Richmond right away, however, getting it back into the box. One of the most difficult times to defend, or most crucial times to defend, is immediately following scoring a goal.
Absolutely right, Ray. We used to all my players. They just say, get that ball forward as soon. Those next 2 minutes after a goal's been scored are the most dangerous in the whole match. It's so easy for a team to let down and give up another one. So easy for a team to feel good about themselves, not concentrate, and give up an equalizer.
A corner coming in from Davis, headed down. Hammerhead's able to clear. Back over to Kalungi with it.
Once again, a lot of space for Luke Vercoloni, but Wilmington back in, defending that defensive third.
Nice ball to the back post, headed down. Hammerhead's very lucky none of the kickers could get onto the end of that. Goalkeeper Quillen Roberts was beaten, went for the cross on the far post, but it was headed back to the middle. Just a host of kickers players in the box, unable to get on the end of that. Still with it up at the top of the box. Misses on that ball. Here, it'll be a Hammerhead's throw.
And you summarized it well, Ray. Roberts coming out for the ball, wasn't able to get there. Yonby at the far post headed the ball back in, and Michael Seaton very nearly finished. That's the best chance that the kickers have had. And we talk right after a goal, Wilmington back on their heels. They've got to get possession again. I don't think they can just defend for the next 28 minutes and hope to come out of here with a tie, let alone come out with a win.
Nice ball back to Vercoloni. Now out to Davis, who lets one go, but it's over the top, not troubling Quillen Roberts at all.
But they're troubling that defense, and they've stepped up the pressure now. Richmond, they realize they can't just sit back, and they've got to come and they've got to get results. And it's one of those crazy games. I've seen a lot of them in soccer, like this one team with all the possession, and the other team just, loses focus for just a second. And Captain Tom Parrott for Wilmington made them pay. 27 minutes to go. Expect Richmond to keep throwing players forward.
Yeah, this one-goal lead certainly not safe, especially with Matt Delicott up top, one of the most decorated scorers in league history. Here's Stephen Miller over the top of the ball once again, out wide to Oliveira. He tries to chip it over the top of Joe Willis, but Willis, a veteran. Here's Yisley again, been very active tonight with the kickers.
every time we thought about good things, talked about good things happening for the Hammerheads, Stephen Miller has been involved. Once again, he's not real fancy, he's not highly publicized, but he's a hard worker, and that goes a long way. It's why he had such a fine career at Colgate. I think we've got a substitution that we didn't pick up. That's Jordan Hamilton in the game, and I believe he's come on for Sonny Jane, and he gives that physical presence, especially if you're defending a one-goal lead.
Once again, Jordan Hamilton, a 21-year-old on loan from Toronto, has really come on strong lately, scoring in each of his last 3 games. Actually scoring against the Hammerheads when Toronto FC came down for a friendly, played with Toronto against the Hammerheads and scored a goal against his own team.
Big, powerful guy, and up front alongside Ochoa gives them a dual attacking presence of physicality. That's a good ball in by Jason Yisley that time, and he just couldn't quite connect. And I believe it was Ashanti Faircloth, not Ashanti Faircloth, but William Yonby coming by, challenging it. The ball was past Ashanti Faircloth.
While we have a break in the action, to remind you that Nike is a proud sponsor of USL Pro. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike soccer information. And here is Quillen Roberts with the goal kick. Bercoloni dispossessed there in the midfield. The long shot easily handled by Joe Willis, but a good idea.
Stephen Miller with a shot, and it's Parrott that's down in the midfield for the Hammerheads. He took an inadvertent elbow that time from Asante.
With Parrott still down, Hammerheads knock it out of bounds.
Don't think there was anything malicious this time. The referee may want to check with his linesman on that, but Parrott went down. It was just sort of one of those hot and heavy moments out there, and Asante threw his arm up and caught Parrott going by.
Looks like there won't be any need for the trainer for Tom Parrott as he's back on his feet. We do have a substitution coming on for Richmond. Looks like Yisley going off.
Shea Spitz is coming on this right side. Jason Yisley gave them a lot of good service. Won some balls in the air. Thought he was very effective. I think they need a little more speed to try to attack down this flank.
Certainly a good night for Yisley. He was one of the more active kickers tonight. Created a lot of good chances out on the wing.
Again, he was an excellent player at Penn State, on the verge of stardom, and just had a lot of injuries in his career, but he's hung with it, and he's a young man of really fine characters. Been a real asset to Richmond.
There is the Hammerhead substitution, Jordan Hamilton sending it out wide. That cross just mishit there from Stephen Miller.
Bad moment for Miller. He's been very active, and he's been at the center of all the action in the second half. He's created some opportunities, maybe a little bit of tired legs on the part of Miller, but he's had a good game, and psychologically you're not going to get him to quit. He's another individual of excellent character, very hard worker, real asset to any team.
Seaton battling hard with 3 Hammerheads defenders. It looks like he'll be called for a foul. Maybe a bit too much hands involved there.
Richmond has been the better team for much of this game, except for one occasion in the box in the second half, and the inability to penetrate effectively in the final third. And it's illustrative of soccer. You've got 2 boxes, 18 by 44 on each end of the field, and if you're better than the other team in both those boxes, it almost doesn't matter what happens between them.
Here we are as we enter the 70th minute. The Hammerheads surprisingly up 1-0 off a second half goal from Tom Parrott.
Not Delicott trying to win that ball, talking to the official about what looked to be a push by Drew Ruggles. And Delicott has to be frustrated. He's not had a lot of touches in this game. And the Wilmington Hammerheads defense has risen to the occasion, shutting out man tied for leading scorer in the league.
Ball goes up top to Ochoa. Again, now you have the two leading scorers for the Hammerheads up top in Ochoa and Hamilton. Player down momentarily for the Kickers.
I think that's Davis, who's took a shot in the ankle.
Nicely won there from Delicott. And they get it back to him. But again, just a swarm of Hammerhead defenders around him at the top of the box. Hammerheads coach David Irving, who's been with the team since the late 1990s. I'm sure he's very aware of Delicott's ability to finish, so he has made that a focal point of the defense, having a Shawnee Faircloth with him every step of the way.
Richmond being much more active in the midfield, challenging for balls, resulting in chances. Not very well taken by Michael Seaton.
He had some space, 25 yards or so out from goal, but just kind of got over the top of it and hit it wide left.
Got a lot of excitement down here below with the Hammerheads mascot Strike, trying to rouse the fans to an emotional fervor. Or excuse me, I called him Strike. It's Sledge, as in sledgehammer with the Hammerheads, exciting those fans and almost on the verge of riot here.
Nice job pressuring there from Oliveira. And a dangerous opportunity there for the Hammerheads. Nice job by the Kickers defense getting back quickly and knocking that out for a Hammerheads corner kick.
Oliveira's a very good player technically. Hasn't had a lot of the ball, but can be very effective. And called on Richmond to make a good play. Connor Shanoski clearing that ball off. The results in a corner for Wilmington.
Ball goes near post, hit, flicked on, and that ball just goes wide.
Boy, there was Ochoa lurking at the far post. Almost got the second one, and that would have made it very, very difficult for Richmond.
It was a wonderful ball to the near post, flicked on to the far post.
And you're right, Ray, a very good point. A lot of goals are scored at the far post, but a lot are created by runs to the near post.
Miss hit there from Quillen Roberts goes out of bounds here on the near side. So Kalungi with the throw. And here he is again attacking down that right sideline. He's been a force for the Kickers down the right side.
Now, talking about adjustments, in the first half, Kalungi was down that right side time and time again. The Hammerheads have done a very good job denying him getting down. We haven't called his number. He hasn't been the attack nearly as much in the second half as he was in the first.
Ball goes to Asante in the midfield. Ball slipped through nicely. Then once again, clutch defending by the Hammerheads inside their own box. Long cross coming in, but that'll sail over the top for a Hammerhead goal kick.
That's a clever pass by Davis, who's Always around the ball, very active. He's playing on the left side, but he comes inside. Found Seaton, who took too long to get that shot off.
Nice job there in Hammerhead midfield. Nicholson able to regain possession, and now they're attacking down the right side. There's your goal scorer, Tom Parrott, with it out to Ruggles and back to Nicholson. Hammerhead's done a much better job here in the second half, keeping possession. And there was Nicholson being brought down at the top of the box. I believe the referee did call a foul there and did not go with the advantage.
Not sure, we may or may not see a card. The Shinosky referee bringing him over to talk to him. Don't think he's going to. Yes, he is going to be issuing a card to Connor Shinosky, who had to step up to challenge on that situation as Nicholson came forward.
Well, we've got a momentary break in the action to remind all of you out there that every USL Pro regular season and playoff game will stream live on YouTube in 2014. Features include DVR, chat, and social media interactivity. Subscribe for free to the Wilmington Hammerheads YouTube channel today. So here we have Richmond Kickers getting their wall set up. Referee taking them back to the full 10 yards. It's like we've got Ochoa and Oliveira look to be over the top of the ball for the Hammerheads. Ochoa with it, trying to dip it over the wall and into that left-hand corner. Just goes over the top.
Sometimes it's almost too close to the top of the box, not enough room to get it down. That was the case for Ochoa on his shot there.
We have another substitution coming on for the Hammerheads. Looks like both teams actually making a change here.
I think Richmond is taking Michael Seaton off, and we'll have to get that substitution. Probably Tishon Hanley, I believe, will come on up top for Richmond. And it looks like Cody Arnault is coming to the game for Ochoa for the Hammerheads.
Ball coming wide to Bercoloni, but nicely defended.
But this will result in yet another corner kick, and you just can't keep giving as many corner kicks as the Hammerheads had. Another substitution for Richmond. Hugh Roberts, former star at George Mason University, a defender. He's coming on, I think, possibly in the midfield. Valuable presence in the air.
Kickers go short with the corner, but that's cleared away by the Hammerheads. But kept in bounds. Long ball headed over the top, and now it's finished. Quillen Roberts came out but could not get there.
And it's the player we mentioned, Hugh Roberts, coming on. He's moved up into the midfield, and the Hammerheads did not track him coming out. Ball served in. Hugh Roberts, the former George Mason star, coming on and getting that little touch, and it's 1-1. We didn't think that the Hammerheads could sit back for the last 30 minutes and give as many opportunities they have to Richmond. And now let's see what happens here. Will the Hammerheads come forward, try to win this match at home, or will they sit back in? I think Richmond probably feels pretty good and is going to want to keep pressing the issue.
See if recently brought on substitute Cody Arnaud can bring a little life to the Hammerheads attack here. There's your first look at Arnaud as he loses it out of bounds.
Well, here's the situation now. They brought Arnaud on. They brought some other players on to defend the lead, and Richmond foils that strategy by getting a goal. And even though this is a game at Wilmington, the nature of this game has been that Richmond, having gotten the goal, 10 minutes to go, I think if you're Richmond, you keep pressing the attack and see if you can win it. You've got a team that's down a little bit. I think the Hammerheads thought they could keep this game and run out the clock, and let's see if Richmond is going to go for the jugular.
Ball knocked down. Hammerheads now coming away with it. Here's Stephen Miller now.
Some good substitutions by both coaches, but particularly by Lee Kalishow. He introduced Chase Spitz into the right side of midfield. He's provided some activity, and Hugh Roberts, what more can you ask? Came in the game. The first touch of the game was a goal.
Ball flicked on, looking for Hanley. Hanley putting pressure on Quillen Roberts in the back. Able to get rid of it, but knocked out for a Richmond throw. So Richmond still on the attack here. Hammerheads need to rally.
They do. They're looking to stabilize, and it's really interesting what Lee Kalishow has done. He brought in Hugh Roberts, who's a defender ordinarily. He's playing as a defensive midfielder.
Now long ball looking for Hamilton up this left side. Ruggles intercepts. Now he looks long.
Nike is a proud sponsor of the USL. Follow @Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. Score stats, news, and more exclusively at USLsoccer.com.
Another substitution we have. Stephen Miller is coming off, and we're trying to see who will be coming on for Stephen Miller. He did a lot of running down that flank and also moving inside. We're trying to get the substitution as we look across the field. I'm guessing this might be Manu Aparicio coming on as a wide midfielder for the Hammerheads.
You're right. It is number 7, Manny Aparicio, coming in for the Hammerheads.
Job there by Davidson. He's been very consistent in the back.
We'll have a pause for another substitution here from the Hammerheads.
Tom Parrott coming off. He's giving the captain's band to Cody Arnaud, and I'm thinking that Will Heaney might be the substitution that we're looking at on the far side. Give him a little more physicality. Parrott, remember, got shaken up after scoring the goal to put the Hammerheads on top.
Will Heaney had the late equalizer in stoppage time against the Chicago Fire Reserves last weekend for the Hammerheads, so no stranger to some late offense from Will Heaney. Now it's Richmond still with it on the attack. Nice ball all the way to the near side. A great tackle there from Ruggles.
Fine play by Ruggles, winning that ball. It's It looked like Davis was free down the flank.
Here's Hamilton with it now, looking for Arnaud through. Hamilton had the right idea there. Arnaud just didn't make himself readily available for him on that run.
And a matter of communication at the end of the game. You make these substitutions, the forwards aren't really used to each other, and the defense clears. So it's Hugh Roberts coming back in the defensive midfield. He gives a defensive presence. He's ordinarily a defender. Not that good on the ball, but rugged and very, very good in the air. Opportunity for the Hammerheads as we see once again Davidson, the UNC Wilmington player, former UNC Wilmington player, coming forward for the throw-in.
Now the kicker's looking to counter. That ball goes just over the inline.
Hanley losing it out of bounds, giving the Hammerheads an opportunity. The game's become a little bit more open, hasn't it, Ray? Last 5 minutes, a little bit of chaos, and which team can stay organized? You don't want to get unbalanced. You got some new players in. You don't want to take any unnecessary chances. A tie is a good result for Richmond on the road, even though they've had the majority of the play.
There's Delicott doing a nice job with it up top.
Nice play by Faircloth, who's a very, very consistent defender.
Ball safely headed out of bounds for a corner.
But we've talked, Ray, about that communication, and Ruggles had a lot of time to play that ball, and the same turn, Roberts could have come out on it. Instead, you get a corner.
Corner goes to the near post. Good opportunity. Now to the back post. Nicely headed away.
Just in the nick of time by Faircloth. He's done that on a few occasions tonight.
We are approaching the 98th minute, or the 88th minute of action, pardon me. Long throw into the 6-yard box. Hammerheads now just trying to hang on. They've got an opportunity for a counterattack here. Oh, Oliveira with a long run. Foul is called.
And that's why you want to get Oliveira involved. He's a very, very tricky, elusive player. He's a good player technically, and that's his best run of the day. Really good effort. He gives you that wide play. He gives you that explosiveness from the flanks.
And the yellow card given there to Bercoloni for that tackle. Interesting to see here about right between 25 and 30 yards out from goal here. Good opportunity for the Hammerheads to get a solid strike on goal and test Joe Willis.
Got two substitutes on the ball, Manny Aparicio and Will Haney, so we're not too sure who is going to go with this one. I'm thinking it'll be Aparicio trying to bend the ball around the center of the wall, get it past Willis.
And it's Haney with the left foot, but
I was wrong on my prediction, but maybe they should have gone with Aparicio if Heaney's going to kick it that far over the bar. That has to be irritating for a coach. Give your team a chance. At least make the goalkeeper handle it, especially the last 5 minutes of the game when concentration lapses are more likely to occur.
Aparicio unable to bring that ball down. So just over 1 more minute of regulation to go, plus the stoppage time Should see a few minutes, however, with all the substitutions and 2 goals in this second half. So still plenty of time for one of these two teams to try to get that go-ahead goal.
Luke Vercaloni can't believe it. He kicked that ball, and it clearly went off Aparicio, but the ball went the other way, and this is a time when Richmond has to regroup quickly, and the Hammerheads will take advantage. Maybe that was a bit of a make-up call for the foul, but Luke Vercaloni is beside himself. He kicked that ball. It clearly went off Aparicio, and the officials missed that call, but no harm in this situation as Joe Willis prepares to send it down the field.
Here we are, deadlocked at 1 as we enter stoppage time. Got a little space at the top of the box. Just push that half volley just wide.
Samuel Asante getting forward. He's played mostly in the midfield. He's able to come forward a little bit more now with Hugh Roberts playing defensively behind him.
Nice little 2-man game down the right sideline here.
A little excitement provided by Michael Oliveria. Very, very quick, explosive player. Hasn't had enough touches, but when he has had them, he's been dangerous.
Long throw coming to the near post. And that ball headed out. Looks like a corner kick for the Hammerheads.
That's Matt Delicott again back. He hasn't done much offensively, but he's come back and really saved Richmond quite a few times in the defensive end.
I have to think this will be one of the last opportunities for the Hammerheads.
Really could, and Willis getting his defenders back, and they're making a substitute, Richmond, at the very last minute. Tough time for a player to come on. We're trying to catch that substitute now. This looks like Shane Johnson, quite possibly. Big, strong defender out of Longwood.
Comes the out-swinging corner to the near post and low, but easily cleared out. A disappointing effort there.
Not a good quality corner. You need to get that ball in the mixer. Just give people a chance. Maybe second ball, knock down, foul, anything. But got to get that ball in and test the goalkeeper, test the back of the defense. Like Drew Ruggles on the throw-in. He can throw it a long way.
That ball knocked down at the top of the box. Now Richmond trying to counter. Nice job by Nicholson to win that ball back. There's Heaney dropping it off. And as that shot goes wanting, the referee blows the final whistle, and that's how it'll end. Wilmington Hammerheads 1, Richmond Kickers 1. Really a tale of 2 halves here, Richard. First half, Richmond dominated the possession, but were unable to capitalize. Second half, Hammerheads came out with more of a sense of urgency, pressuring Richmond's guys, able to go on top 1-0 with the goal from Parrott. However, Richmond really regrouped and started pressuring a lot more, able to get a goal from the substitution, Hugh Roberts. What do you take away from tonight's game as the second-place Richmond Kickers, sixth-place Wilmington Hammerheads? Really a positive result for both, but what do you look for going forward for both of these teams?
Take away that both these teams are very, very close in overall ability and talent level, and the Hammerheads have a lot of games in hand, so even though you're comparing second to sixth, the Hammerheads have a chance to get well with a couple victories because Richmond's played more. But Richmond did a very good job of possessing, but they weren't really able to penetrate the defense in the attacking third. They weren't really effective in connecting with the final pass, and as a result, Hammerheads hung around it. A really fine effort by Tom Parrott, pouncing on that opportunity created by Stephen Miller. But you can't sit back and absorb pressure the entire game, and that's what the Hammerheads did. And good substitution by Lee Calishaw, bringing Hugh Roberts on in the midfield on a custom position, enables him to get forward, get the equalizer. It's a fair result. Richmond has to be happy with a tie on the road, but a little disappointed because they controlled the game and weren't able to penetrate a very good defensive effort by Wilmington.
Well, the Hammerheads in the midst of a very difficult portion of their schedule. Next Thursday, July 3rd, they'll welcome the first-placed Orlando City Soccer Club, where Richard and I will rejoin you once again. I'm Ray Stone for Richard Broad. Thank you all for watching Wilmington Hammerheads Soccer on YouTube, and see you again.